Hi, everybody. So today we're going to talk about the multiverse. And I've been avoiding this one because it's like, how do you explain it? Really? How am I going to explain it to you? So I'm going to start with some pictures and I will share the screen. I hope you're all doing awesome, by the way. So we're going to start with this crazy picture. And this is one of the movies that I'm going to recommend to you. And it's called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now, what I want you to do is look at this, all these pictures of him, different versions of him. And there's different versions of everybody on this movie poster, whatever you want to call it. So basically, the multiverse is an echo. So think of it like a fractal. And we'll go to a fractal picture. So here's a fractal. And these fractals, if you zoom in on them, they just keep, well, it's kind of pixelated, but they're basically all the same and smaller versions of the same exact thing. Okay. Which is just like this movie. So these are the three movies I'm recommending to you guys to watch. Horton Hears a Who. That is also a universe, right? And what was it? Where was this universe? It was in a little tiny piece of pollen. So a whole universe inside of this little piece of pollen from a flower. And an elephant heard this big cry from Whoville. Whoville gets talked about a lot. So we know that's disclosure, right? And then this one is a very good explanation. Everything, everywhere, all at once. This is a great explanation of the multiverse. And basically, they needed somebody to pull it all together, right? She was able to travel the multiverse and use her gifts. And how did she do it? She did it by basically being kind of having fun with it, right? So I'd watch that one first. That'd be the first one I watched if you want to understand this. But whatever one you're attracted to, honestly, I'd watch that. So I want you to think about some of these things here. So here's you, supposedly. Let's just pretend. And we're looking at the Milky Way, right? So you have this big universe right here. And basically, this is the Milky Way universe. Or galaxy, excuse me. We're in the universe, and then we have the galaxy. And then inside of the galaxy is going to be maybe a solar system, which they didn't really have a good picture of the solar system. So what does that mean? They can't take a good picture of the solar system. But so that's basically where I was at with that. But let's say this is the solar system. This is actually too big for a solar system. Let's pretend this is also a galaxy. So how many galaxies are in the universe? I have no idea, but tons. And then within the universe, there's all these echoes of that universe. So we call that the multiverse. So if we all came out of source, right? We all came out of God source. We're all a piece of God source. And we all have different perspectives. And we all have a oversoul, right? Ooh, that's great. So we all have an oversoul. So here is that. So the oversoul is where your higher self or your soul came from. Now it's downloading into the body. So as it downloads into the body, where are all the other perspectives? Where are all these other higher selves doing? What are they doing? They are in the multiverse. They're in the parallels. They're out there doing other things, learning other things. I don't know if you've ever done this, but I grew up in a canyon, and we'd stand on one side of the canyon and we'd scream like a coyote, right? And then it would echo. So the multiverse is the echoes, the different versions of us, all of us. And they're all out there, just slightly different. So I'm going to check my notes and see what else. But that's the basics of it. Like the multiverse is echoes and also parallels. So we are in this massive experiment. And what is that experiment for? Information. Information for God source. Information. Because we're all one and we're learning. Okay, so another way to explain it is Google Earth, which is, very easy. So basically, the multiverse could be seen as different cities. It could be seen as, oops, sorry guys. As your eyes are like, so look at these little pads of little spots where they're farming, right? The plots. So all of these plots have their own thing going on. Every single one of them. None of them look exactly the same, even if they look very similar. So the multiverse can be described like it just goes on and on and on. Okay. And whatever is closest to us is what we understand the most, and it's the least distorted. So you know how you take a picture and somebody may copy it and then another person copies it and it goes crazy on social media. And I don't have this experience, but a lot of people have. And that picture basically gets more and more distorted and more blurry. So the farther away you go from the center, the more different it becomes in the multiverse because the echo is changing. And I think that's because there's other factors coming in with that multiverse. So that's another way to explain it. But let's think of it as you have a state. So you have a country, and inside the country you have states, and inside of the state you have counties, and inside of that you have cities, and inside of that you have streets and neighborhoods and individual homes. And then maybe 5 people live in that house, and each one of them has a different perspective. So it's all about perspective, these multiverses, because you could be an awesome person in one of these universes, or you could be like kind of crappy in another one. Okay. It just depends on how far out or how far away it is. And I don't think that that really makes sense as well. If you're in like the astral plane, I feel like it's different. The human brain, I don't feel like has caught up to this stuff. It's really a stretch to think about it because we haven't been allowed to expand like that. And we're just beginning to really expand in our thinking about everything. So hopefully that helps. Another thing I want to mention is the different sizes of beings. So we started out with Titans, right? Long time ago, we had Titans. And then after we had Titans, we had a form of giant, which I think I would call the Nephilim, probably the next version that I know of, like in my human brain. And then we had giants. And then we have humans. And then we have hobbits. So remember when they found those 3-foot tall people, the skeletons, and then they covered it up, and it was in National Geographic. They were 3 feet tall. So, you know, there's all different sizes. Even now, like in humanity, some people, like their nationality, they're topping out around 5 feet. And then other nationalities, like if you're not 6 foot tall, like as a male, then you're short. But the average, I think, is 5'7" or 5'8". So it really does depend on the genetics. And that also illustrates the differences, the distortions, the changes. So it's all about perspective. And if you can think of an echo, then it really kind of shows you what is a multiverse. But I would watch one of those other movies. So like watch Everything Everywhere All at Once. And if that doesn't, you know, like if that resonates, then I'd also watch Horton Hears a Who. Because really, like, that's a spectrum that's so big. And when you get that, when you can see that difference, you're going to know what it is. And someday we'll experience it and we'll know it and we'll understand it because it'll come through and make sense. But I wouldn't try and make it make sense right now. Don't hurt your brain that way, you know, but if you can understand it, then it's awesome. I don't think we will understand it in its entirety for a while, to be honest. It's a pretty complicated idea and it's kind of overwhelming, you know, infinite waves of experiences going out there. So I hope that helps. And I hope that this made sense. And I know this is short, but I don't know what else to really put in here. But I want you to just think about it. Like, go away from this video, think about the echo, maybe draw what an onion looks like. You know, it's like layer after layer after layer. That is the multiverse. It's just layers. And just like the earth is in layers, and our toroidal field, our energy field, like we're just in, everything's in layers. So I really hope that helps. And I'm sorry it took me so long to make this video. And next time I'm going to start talking about our future and some of the things that I see coming in for the future, but in a broad way. So we're on the precipice of some really big, beautiful things. So just enjoy it. Just enjoy it, you guys. All right. I'll see you soon. Bye.